Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Justin Lewis with the Online Success Podcast, and today I am with Michael Brown. So, what's up, Michael?
Not much, man. Ready to do this.
Yeah, this is going to be really awesome because we've got some great content to share today. This is actually the strategy that I used right in the beginning when I started making money online. It was my first big success. So I'm going to share my first big success with everyone out there listening, as well as you, Michael, because you were actually there with me when I started all of this.
Oh yeah, and this is good because I can shut up for the entire broadcast today, so I get to be quiet and just listen for once. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's different presenting something. I've never actually done that myself, so I'm really excited about that.
I don't know, do you think I can be quiet for the whole episode? I don't know if I can.
I doubt it. All right, so for anyone out there wondering, this is my first big success. But first off, I do want to state that my name is Justin Lewis. I've been working online for about 3 years now. I've made quite a bit of money on the internet and have had many different ventures that have been very successful. But along with me is Michael Brown, and he is actually one of my mentors. He's one of my original teachers when I first started. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, if you're probably listening to this is like our third podcast in, so you probably know me by now. But a quick intro: I started making money online about 4 years ago, and I haven't stopped since. I was able to quit my day job in about a year, about 12 months, and now I just love teaching other people how to do it. And that's about really all there is to me.
Yeah,
I love teaching this stuff. That's my passion. So.
and you were a great inspiration when I first started. So this whole podcast, the whole episode that we are presenting today is really thanks to Michael. I want to say that because the only reason I was able to achieve this success that I've had was because of Michael Brown. So thank you very much, Michael.
No problem, man. It's an honor to sit on here with you. And like I said before, you bring a lot of really great stuff to the table too. So it just shows you that even though you learn stuff from somebody, you grow and grow bigger. So take it away,
Oh,
man.
heck
I'm
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, man.
Let's just go ahead and just dive right into this. I'm going to start sharing my experiences and what happened to me before I actually made my big success. So for anyone out there wondering, back in 2008, I was actually living on the streets, and I actually lived inside of a car. I had a 1995 Pontiac Sunfire, and I slept in that car. I actually hid behind a cop's house just to make sure that I was safe and protected. And really, I didn't have any money. I was a pizza delivery boy, and there wasn't much money in that. And although I may have seemed happy to the people around me, I really wasn't because my life was really just in the gutter. So I pretty much did what everyone else did. I went ahead and I got a job. I moved into an apartment and I struggled for about 2 years. I worked at a bunch of different places, but one of the biggest companies that I worked for was UPS. And although there are a lot of people out there that love trucking companies and everything for the money, there wasn't really much other than the money inside of that job, and I absolutely hated it. I could not stand it. So I don't know about you, Michael, with your whole story and everything when it came to jobs and everything. Did you like working as a drugstore manager?
When I first started, I did
Hmm.
because I thought it was great and everything, but it wasn't long before I realized that it was just full of bureaucracy and red tape all
Yeah,
around the board, and it just became very frustrating to where it got to a point where I hated it. But
yeah.
at first I was like, "Wow, this is cool," and everything was good, and then I realized it was just like every other type of day job out there, and then I started hating it and loathing it. So, what was one thing I wanted to ask you when you were talking there? What was the thing that you really hated about working with the trucking company for UPS and doing that? What was the thing you hated the most, I guess?
Probably the biggest thing that made it not enjoyable was the fact that it was all about money. Working at a trucking company, there's nothing other than money that really matters to these people. I'm not trying to bash trucking companies or anyone that works for them, but everyone that worked there hated their job as well, and probably one of the biggest reasons is just because of the environment, how it feels to work for someone else and being bossed around and yelled at all the time. even when you're doing the right thing, like I would work so hard all day, every day. I ended up being at top of the charts at some points where, I was doing more work than people that had worked there for like 30 years. But that didn't matter to them because it was really a seniority thing. It was saying, well, these guys have worked there for longer and everything, so they deserve more value. And even though that may make sense to some people, uh, I don't think it makes sense. I think it definitely, if someone's willing to work hard, they should get something back in return from that. But really, the great thing about working at UPS is that it didn't last that long. I only worked there for about 6 months, and I'm really glad that that happened. I'm glad that I didn't have to work there for much longer, because if I had, I probably would have stayed there for the rest of my life, just because they had so many benefits and they were offering lots of money and everything. But I just hated it. It was a disaster. So luckily, and a lot of people might not view this as lucky, but I do, they laid me off January of 2010. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And it sounds kind of weird because you think, well, Justin, you were laid off. Why is that a good thing? Well, that led me down a path that eventually helped me find someone that started teaching me how to make money online and showed me that this world really existed. At first I didn't think that you can make money online. I thought it was all a bunch of crap, and I thought it was baloney. I didn't think it would really work at all. I just didn't believe it. It just made no sense. But as I started growing into it and really getting into this industry, I started realizing that this is a real world. It's a real world where you can make money on the internet, where you can make money from home, and it doesn't require a lot of work. And if you are willing to put more work into it, you end up making more money. And I thought that was amazing. And it really just makes sense, because if you think about it, all you're really doing is you're either helping yourself or you're helping another company by promoting their products or their business, their services, whatever it is. You're helping that company, and in return, you're getting a profit. You're getting some sort of commission from doing that. So it's not as difficult as it sounds. So I really want to thank Michael Brown, because he was actually that guy that originally taught me right after being laid off. He was the dude that was there for me, that helped me out and really guided me in that direction. So thank you, Michael.
No problem, man. Hey, one thing when you were speaking there that I was reminded of, it's something a lot of people come into this and they have that same feeling, like they think it's all just, not going to work or anything like that. But you came in with the mentality that you were going to find a way to make it work. Even though you found out it was a legit thing right away, you also came in and you focused on working at it. So I think that's something critical, that everyone, you're listening to us today, you're listening to Justin. Remember, he worked hard to get to where he's at. So you want to work at it still. It's not something that magically happens overnight. So you just work at it. You learn, work at it, apply. Learn, work at it, apply, and keep doing it over and over again.
And I absolutely agree, because when you think about it, it's just like anything else in life. You have to work for the money that you're receiving or the success that you're receiving. It doesn't just happen like the lottery. And many times those people that win the lottery end up failing anyways in life. They go in debt. So you don't just get things handed to you. What happens is you really have to work for it. So you could either work at a job that you hate for the rest of your life and make a little bit of money, or you can work for yourself. You can really build your own business, do what you want with your life on the internet or wherever you want to be. You can really work for yourself, put as much work as you want into that, and increase your income, as well as just do what you want, because that's really, really important, and it's something that everyone has the ability to do. And just so everyone knows out there, you all have some ability. You all have something in you that makes you an expert. And Michael and I are actually going to be talking about that pretty soon. I believe we're going to be talking about that in the next episode of the Online Success Podcast. Right, Michael?
Yeah, we have a really good presentation coming up with that. So I'm really, really excited to present that one. I'm not going to start jumping into it here, because I'm getting excited just thinking about going into that one. But what we're doing here, what we're talking about today, should be exciting for everyone as well, because you're on with someone, with Justin here, who came in from scratch, learned how to do it, and applied these methods And you know, that's what we're going to show you today. So
Yeah, and I also want to state at that time when I started, you know, I didn't have anything. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think that I had anything of value, but I did. And that ended up leading me to my first income on the internet, and it was truly amazing. I was blown away by it. I ended up making 23 cents. It was, you know, less than a quarter was my first income online. And I was blown away. I was jumping up and down. I was calling all of my friends, running down the street, telling all of my friends and everything, calling my friends and family. And what sucked is they put me down. They were like, well, that's 23 cents, dude. You know, what is that? I mean, 23 cents, that's less than what you can spend on a pack of gum. You can't even get a pack of gum with that money. But what happened, what really made me believe in all of this is that although it wasn't a lot of money, you know, it was only 23 cents, I made that money while I was sleeping. You know, I didn't have to work on the internet while I was making the money. I worked prior to it, but after that, I mean, I made that round a quarter while I was sleeping, while I was in bed. And that really led me down a path where I started believing in this stuff and everything. And I started, you know, really wanting to make more money. But before I jump into that, I just want to say that the way I made that money was with something called pay per click. And what that is you make money when someone comes to your website or a site on the internet, page on the internet, and they click on an advertisement. These are called pay-per-click advertisements. And we're going to be explaining this in future episodes of the Online Success Podcast, Michael and I. And it's an easy way to make, you know, your initial money. And it's really cool. It's exciting. But it takes, you know, a little bit more work, in my opinion, in order to make a lot of money with it. And there are other ways to make some big money. And that's when, you know, I really started to brainstorm. I started thinking of different ways, and I wanted more money. I didn't just want 23 cents. I wanted $2,300. I wanted to be able to make enough money to be able to sustain my lifestyle, to be able to go out and eat with my friends, buy a motorcycle, buy the car that I wanted, move into the house that I wanted, things like that. You know, 23 cents, you might not be able to do that, but when you're really get into this, it is possible to build a real solid income on the internet. And that's when Michael Brown introduced me to affiliate marketing. And I'm just going to go into this really quickly because you can go back to the previous episode, which is episode 2 of the Online Success Podcast. And that's where we talk about affiliate marketing. But really what it is you get someone to come to a website that you build, and they click on this thing called an affiliate link. And if they buy anything from that advertiser store, so let's say it's like bestbuy.com, if they buy anything from there, you then get a commission. And that commission is really just a percentage or a set amount that the advertiser or the store is paying you. So you make money by promoting someone else's product. That way you don't have to ship anything, you don't have to handle any type of support, and it's easy to do, and it's really, really scalable. So thank you very much, Michael, for explaining affiliate marketing to me, because that really changed the whole spectrum of how money can be made.
Yeah, like I said, no problem. One thing I want to touch on real quick before you go on, Justin. To the listener out there, Justin is not saying that pay-per-click ads won't work or you can't make a lot of money from those. So don't misunderstand what he's saying, because there are publishers who are making millions of dollars a month with pay-per-click ads on their website. So it's definitely doable, but you need a lot of traffic. And sometimes when you're first getting started, it doesn't really add up the way you want it to. So don't misunderstand what he's saying as far as having ads on your site. Or pay-per-click ads on your site, to be more specific, because you can make great money with them. You just need to work on the traffic. So he's not, you know, beating it down. So I don't want anyone to start thinking out there like, oh, I've got ads on my site, I'm not going to make good money. It all comes down to traffic. And Justin's just showing you some out-of-the-box type thinking that can really help you expand your income. So as he's talking, just focus on that. Imagine being able to expand your income just thinking outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, and definitely, I'm not saying anything against things like Google AdSense or pay-per-click. There are profitable ways or ways to make a good amount of money with it. It really just depends on, of course, your traffic, but also the niche that you're going after, so the industry. Uh, so if you're going after an industry like insurance or credit or something like real estate, those are profitable niches when it comes to things like AdSense. But my biggest thing is that you don't have as much control with it. But with affiliate marketing, with this industry, you have complete control of over what you promote. And
Yeah,
that's
I
what I love
absolutely
about it.
I absolutely agree with that too.
Yeah.
Justin is spot on with that. That if you know what you're going to make from a click or from a purchase, that's better than from an ad that you don't know if you're going to make 30% of the profit from the click or if you're going to make 50 or 60%. You don't know.
Yep. So, and it's just, you can always change your product too. So if it's not working, if the thing that you're promoting isn't making you money, you can always change it. With AdSense, you can kind of change it by changing your content, but really they choose what comes up on your website. So when it came to affiliate marketing, I thought it was great and everything, but I wondered. I started thinking outside of the box, and I was like, well, if you can make money from promoting companies that are online based, so things like BestBuy.com, GameStop.com, AirAndWater.com, websites like that, Amazon.com, then you could probably make money by promoting other people's businesses that are more local in the offline world. So, for example, a restaurant down the street or an apartment complex or even a real estate agent or an insurance company or something like that. So I started really thinking about it, and that's where out-of-the-box thinking comes. You don't want to keep yourself closed. You want to really open your mind to all the different possibilities. Because if you can make money in one way, then there's probably another way that you can make money doing that same thing. And what that eventually led down to, the whole offline thinking, was something that I now call the offline affiliate formula. And that's what I'm going to express in today's podcast. And it's easy to use. It can be used in every niche there is, pretty much, in any market. And I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to tell you how that works right here in this podcast right now. So here's how it works. Pretty much what I did is I went to a local business and I simply asked a very, very basic question that you could, I'm going to have this on the resource page of the podcast as well. But the question was simply this. If I could bring you new clients, could you give me a referral bonus? You only have to pay me when you get new customers from me. So if someone mentions my name, then you can pay me. You can give me that referral bonus. But if they don't mention my name, you don't have to pay me. So if I don't bring you any business, you're not held down by anything. It's only when I bring you new clients.
Hey, Justin,
Yeah.
did you notice when you went in to ask them, I just wonder because I don't think I've ever talked to you about this specific part here.
Mhm.
Did you just realize that they needed more clients, like they weren't filling up their inventory, or?
To be honest, I didn't. I didn't have any clue. And for anyone wondering, this is an apartment complex that we're talking about right here. But this can be used in all different areas, and I'll express that in a little bit. But when it came down to it, I didn't know if they needed new customers or new residents for their apartment complex. I just thought of the idea, and I went ahead and just asked them. And come to find out, they approved my proposal. And it wasn't difficult to get that approval either, because I just talked to him for a few minutes. I kind of built a relationship with them and just told them who I was, and they approved it because they didn't know how to do it. And a lot of people out there don't know how to do this. They don't know how to bring in customers as easily as you can or as we can with websites and things like Craigslist and different ways like this. So I'm going to be talking about these things too. But I will say this, being a customer of the business is a huge, huge reason that I was approved for this specific idea of receiving a referral bonus. So if you're a customer of a restaurant, if you go to a restaurant every once in a while, then you're much more likely to have already built a basis for a relationship, which is going to lead to them more than likely accepting your proposal and allowing you to promote their business, where you can bring them new customers and then they'll be able to pay you. Um, So when it comes to businesses and what kind of businesses you can actually go after for this idea, I'll just jump into a few of them really quick. So my idea was apartment complexes. So all I did is, for every person that mentioned my name and moved into their apartment complex, they paid me money. They paid me about $500. And what I did for this specific idea is I told them, can I give people $250 off their first month's rent? And they said yes. They said that's totally fine. We'll give them 250, and if they mention your name, we'll take that 250 off their first month of rent. And what we'll then do is we'll give you $500 for every person you refer. So a lot of apartment complexes will do this. They already have referral programs, and a lot of businesses in general have referral programs. So it's possible for you to do this, and I'll give you more information about that on the resources page of nicheoptimizer.com/OSP3.
The number 3, right?
Yeah, the number 3. But there are also other businesses that you can use this with, and I've actually done this with a couple of these different businesses. An example would be repair shops. So what you could do is you can make a percentage of the overall repair order when someone mentions your name or your business. And then a couple of other ideas, and Michael helped me come up with these, would be like storage facilities. So with a storage facility, you could get a referral bonus every time someone mentions your name and rents a storage unit from this company. And then you have things like dealerships. The same thing can be done with like how the repair shop was, if somebody gets a repair order, or maybe even if they buy a car. I mean, imagine if you could sell promote a car that they have on sale and everything, and the car's $10,000, and you just get 5% of that. That's $500, I believe, right?
I'm sorry. What was the number?
$10,000, 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's $500. So I'm not very good at math, so anyone can really do this. It just takes a little bit of work.
You caught me off guard. I totally missed the number. I heard everything else, so you got
It's
me
fine,
daydreaming.
Mike.
I was sleeping. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's terrible.
You're not putting me to sleep.
But the same thing can be done with things like doggy day spas. And Michael came up with that one, and it makes perfect sense because you could refer someone to this doggy day spa or daycare or whatever, and if they mention your name, they could get $10 off their first order or something like that, or their first day spa. And then you could make a percentage of the sale that they have, or maybe a set price or something like that. Lastly, you could do something like with lawn mowing businesses and lawn mowing crews. You could go up to a local lawn mowing crew if you have those in your area, or maybe a snow plowing crew or something like that. And you could just ask them, hey, if I brought you more business, could you pay me for that? Just only when I bring you business, could you pay me for that? And many businesses will say yes because they want more business.
Yeah, the other thing, Justin, with that is a lot of service industries out there. They get a little nervous if you want money up front to do things
Yeah.
for them or build stuff for them because they don't know if it's going to work. So when you say, "Hey, you only pay me if I get you the client," then they're like, "Okay, so it's a win-win." Like they don't mind paying for that because you're bringing them someone, and if they turn into a lifelong customer for that business, that value of that lifelong customer is worth far more than to them than what they're going to give you as a commission, basically.
Oh, heck yeah. I absolutely agree because that's affiliate marketing. That's what it is. These affiliate companies like Best Buy and Amazon, they don't pay you a monthly fee for promoting their stuff. They pay you on a lead basis. So if you bring them leads or sales, then they pay you. So it works the same way offline, and people are way more comfortable with that. So for anyone out there wondering how I got this company customers, it's not as difficult as you might think. It's actually pretty easy to do. And one of the first things that you want to do is you want to create a website. For anyone out there wondering how to create a website, how to get a basic website up and running right now, you can go to nicheoptimizer.com/website creation. And if you go to that link, if you go to the website creation link on Niche Optimizer, we'll have some videos and some quick tutorials to help you get started with your first website. But when it came down to the website, or when it comes to a website, all you really need is a domain. You need hosting, and you need hosting. Like I would suggest something like HostGator, and that's what I use for pretty much all of my websites. I believe Michael, you use HostGator too, right?
Yeah, yeah, I use a few, but HostGator is like one of my main.
Yep. And then what you can do is after you have your domain and your hosting, which a domain, by the way, would be like www.chesapeakevirginiaapartments.com, just as a quick example. Once you have your domain and hosting, you can install this thing called WordPress. And with WordPress, you can set up a website in a matter of minutes. It's really easy to do, and you can get started right now. This is something that you can go out and do right this second. But let's say you create your website. Let's say you get one up and running and everything. Well, you don't have to put too much work into it. Really, all you need is just a couple of hundred words on your website explaining what you're doing, explaining what you're offering these people. If you can get some type of incentive for the company, you could say something like, hey, if you'd like to move into this apartment and get a discount, just mention my name and you'll save some money off your first months of rent. And that's a summarized version, but what you could also do is you could add in lots of other information about what the place is like, or what the company or local business is like, and you would just want to mention words that are specific to that local area. And those words could be like, in my case, Chesapeake, Virginia, or Chesapeake, VA. Or inside of the content, I could say something like apartments in Chesapeake. And really, the same thing can be done with anything. So instead of apartments in Chesapeake, you could say repair shop in Chesapeake, doggy daycare in Chesapeake. And just include those words in your content. And what will happen is you'll be much more likely to rank inside of the search engines and things like Google and Bing. So for anyone wondering, I just had to take a quick breath really quick. For anyone wondering how you can get a website up and running really quick, you can do that by going to nicheoptimizer.com/OSP3, and I'll explain how I created that website, and I'll give you a bit of information on how you can get one up and running today in the same, using the same system that I used with the offline affiliate formula. So you can go ahead and head over to nicheoptimizer.com/OSP and then the number 3. That'll get you right over there. And one of the great ways for building traffic to that website or to the business was also using Craigslist. Craigslist was one of my biggest things. That's the only form of traffic that I focused on. And just with one form of traffic, I was able to bring in a lot of leads and make quite a bit of money with this idea too. And I'll express how much money in a little bit. But really, all I did is I went to a place called Craigslist.org. If you don't know what that is, it's an online classified ads website, and it's really just the largest one there is. So a lot of companies or businesses would promote things in newspapers, but you don't really have to use newspapers anymore. You can put it right on the internet and get it in front of people immediately. And people are on Craigslist all the time looking for stuff. So you could have your ad that you post on Craigslist, which by the way is free. You can have your ad seen within a matter of seconds after you post it. So it's really cool. And Michael, have you ever used Craigslist?
Yeah, absolutely. Not to the extent that you did with this, but I've used it for several other things before.
Yeah, there are so many different ways to make money with Craigslist without being pushy and like a salesman and you know all that and everything. So I really suggest anyone out there that wants to make money in the offline marketing world to use Craigslist because it's huge. But really, once I was on Craigslist, I set up an ad, and it's easy to do. You can, I believe, there's a button up there that says "Post an ad" when you're on their website. And I set up a simple title, and inside of that title, I expressed the offer that I was promoting. And all I would say is things like mention Justin Lewis, which is my name. Mention my name when you move into the Ivy Stone Apartments in Chesapeake, Virginia. So you could say the same thing, like mention your business name when you go to this repair shop, or mention Justin Lewis when you visit this doggy daycare and you'll get a discount. You know, simple things like that. Just be super simple. And then in the description, which is what you would set up after you create the title, in the description, just simply state what you're offering. Tell them what you're offering. Say, hey, I found this doggy daycare, this apartment complex around the corner, and you can get a discount if you mention my name. Or if you mention my name, that'll help me out. Just be honest with people. Don't try to lie to them or scam them or anything like that. And what will happen is you'll end up, people will start mentioning your name, and you can make commissions that way. So when it came down to profit, that's pretty much the idea. You know, the idea is finding a local business, telling them, hey, I want to help you out. I can bring you customers, and you only have to pay me when I bring you customers. Set up a website, and after you have that website up and running, start posting Craigslist ads. And you can include the link to your website inside of those Craigslist ads. And that's really the idea. It's really that simple. And what you can do is you can start on this right now. You could go out there, find a business, and start promoting it today. And if you do, you have the potential of doing what I did when I first started. Because in my first year of using this idea that I'm expressing, I made $12,000. $12,000 from promoting one local business, and that was an apartment complex. But that's
Hey,
only, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and this is something. I mean, you didn't put a lot of time into this
Oh,
either, did you?
no.
This was something because I remember you showing this to me, and it was like, what was it, like a just a 2 or 3 page website or something like
Yep.
that, or was
It
it
was
even that?
it was a 3-page website. All I did was on the front page, I told them about the offer, or I told them, hey, you can save some money if you mention my name. Uh, I had another page that listed some of the features of that apartment complex, and then another page where people could print out a coupon. So they could print out a coupon and bring it to the apartment complex. I had to make sure that that was okay with the apartment complex first, but once they approved it, I set that up.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and
that's awesome. I mean, just to be able to go in and create a nice passive income stream without sacrificing a ton of time.
dude, and when it came down to it, I mean, I spent a few minutes a day. I'm not even joking about that. Like, I would even pay other people to post Craigslist ads for me, so I didn't even have to look at it. You know, we would get Craigslist ads posted like once a day, or we would have our website posted up on the internet once a day or once a week or something like that sometimes. Um, and that's really all it was. And people would find that ad, they would go to the website, they would see that it's a legitimate offer, which, by the way, adding a video up there would be super helpful too if anyone wants to add a video. Uh, but simply finding that offer, seeing that it's legit, and then all they did is they mentioned my name and I made money. And that's how easy that this can be done with just a few minutes a day, and I'm not even joking about that. As long as you can post an ad once a day or pay someone else to post an ad, you can make money with this right now. um, but the great thing about it is that I made that money, that $12,000, with one apartment complex. Imagine if someone took this idea, and it may be you listening right now, whoever's listening out there, it may be you. You could take this idea and expand upon that. You can scale this up as much as you like, and you could find 10 local businesses and promote them, or maybe 5 apartment complexes, or just 2. But you could take my idea, this offline affiliate formula, you could take this, go out there and start promoting multiple businesses and bringing in multiple streams of income rather than just one stream of income like I was. So, and I like to finish off with just a few tips. These are just 6 Really simple tips, but they're going to help you out. And you can find these on the resources page at nicheoptimizer.com/OSP in the number 3. And if you go there, you'll be able to find these 6 tips. So I'm just going to go down them really quick. The first tip would be to be a customer if you can. If you can be a customer of a local business first, so let's say it's a dealership or something like that, or a repair shop. If you're a customer of any of these things, if you've ever bought a car from someone or you've ever ate at a restaurant, you're already a customer of those businesses. So you probably have some relationship in some way or another. It might not be a huge relationship, but at least you've talked to someone once or twice. And that's a big thing. So if you can be a customer, that's a huge thing. And number 2 would be if you can build a relationship. So if you can, kind of just talk to the employees, talk to the people that work with these local businesses around you, and build relationships, build friendships. Talk to these people like they're real people, not like they're robots behind a desk or something like that. People hate being talked to like that. They want to be seen as they're their own individual people, and that's going to help you out big time. And that's something that I did that with you, Michael. Instead of just looking at you like some huge mentor or something like that, I talked to you like you were a real person when I first met you.
Yeah, you did, and and that got my attention because most people won't do that.
Yeah,
Most people are like scared, or they don't want to admit they need something or need help or anything like that. So you're right on by saying if you go and you just speak to them up front, a lot of times they'll listen.
Yeah, and all it is just building a friendship. And instead of pitching things to you and stuff like that, when I first built a business relationship with you, instead of pitching all these ideas to you, I started helping you out. I
Mm-hmm.
started handling your support and answering questions on your forum.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, everyone else that's listening right now, you can do that same thing with any business. You can help their business in some way or another, and in return, they're going to help you. And we're
So
going to
what
talk about
Justin's
that.
so what Justin's saying to you is start coming forward and volunteering for us. No, no, just
Exactly.
um, but no, you're right on with that. The worst thing that someone can say to you is no. And I mean, what does that do? It shouldn't bruise your ego or anything. Someone says no.
Yeah, even if they do say no, the thing is that they might say yes later. If you really keep working on a relationship and a friendship, people change their minds all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People have, I think almost everyone has ADHD in some way. I personally have it, but in some way I think people all have a short attention span. So they might think one thing today, but then tomorrow they might think your idea is amazing.
And I think that all goes into just how fast everything moves in the world now. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, everything on our cell phones, we get information up to the minute, so there's distractions everywhere. So, yeah, I'm not going to go into a big, long conversation on that because I could waste about 8 hours of someone's lifetime on that
Yeah.
topic. But
Well, what's cool is that you could go to someone right now. You could pitch this idea or build the relationship first and then pitch the idea, and they could say no. But then tonight, they could go home and read an article on the internet that could change their life. They could change their entire thought process and suddenly think that your idea is good. So just because someone thinks it's a bad idea today doesn't mean they'll think it's a bad idea in the future. So remember that. Try and, go back to these places without being pushy, or just keep those relationships going along. And third, I'd like to get into don't be a salesman. Really be yourself. Don't try to push things on them and pitch at them all the time and say, hey, I've got lots of great stuff and everything. Check it out. Don't be like that. Treat people like they're real people. Not like a robot, behind a desk, like I expressed earlier. Treat them like they're real people, and in return, they're going to treat you like a real person. And instead of being like a manager of a business, they're just going to be themselves. That's really, really important, is to treat people like they're real and not pushy. Don't be pushy with them and say, hey, you've got to do this. If you don't do this, your business is going to fail. Don't screw with them. Be real with them. And fourth, try and get an incentive. So let's say you do find a company or a local business that will allow you to do this. See if you can get some type of incentive for your offer to other people. So an example of this would be to say, save $100 when you mention my name. Save $100 when you mention Justin Lewis when you go to 757 Cycles. Simple things like that, or save 5% off your next order when you mention my name. And those incentives are going to give you a lot of benefit to people because they're going to see an immediate benefit from you for mentioning your name. And in return, they're going to be much more likely to say your name when they're actually at that business or mention you when they are at that business, because in return, they're going to be able to save some money. And that's one of the biggest things that made me a lot of money in the beginning, is because I helped people save a little bit of money in the beginning when they moved into an apartment. And people would mention my name all the time because they just love the idea of being able to save $250 off their first month of rent. So number 5 would be to possibly even do something for free for these businesses. So like I was talking about how, I was with Michael in the beginning and everything, and I talked to him like a real person, and I started offering him support and stuff like that. But what you could do is you could create this business a website. And if you know how to create a website, you already have the skills and the knowledge that they might not have. And if you don't know how to create a website, you can still go to the resources page of the Online Success Podcast for episode 3, and I'll explain how you can get a website up and running. And all you need is you need to get them a domain. You need to get that domain hosted, install WordPress, and then start building a basic website for them. And you might not see that website as something amazing, but a lot of companies and businesses out there don't have the time to build websites. They don't have time for advertising and all of these things. So by building them a website, they're going to be like, oh my God, you're amazing. And suddenly you've built some sense of trust right off the bat. If you just go to someone and say, hey, I can build a website for you for free, I have the knowledge and everything, would you be comfortable with that if it could help bring you business? And they might say yes, and in return they may even pay you instead of getting it for free. People do that all the time. And when you pitched out the idea later that you could also bring them more business, then they may be more likely to allow that. In the 6th note that I would like to express today, and this is the last tip that I want to mention to everybody that's listening to the podcast, that's watching the YouTube video, or anywhere really. The biggest tip that I can give you is to help people, and they will help you in return. Do not go out there and try to scam people. Don't try to deceive them or trick them. Be honest with people. And in return, what's going to happen is they are much more likely to mention your name. They're much more likely to do business with you. And in return, you're going to be much more likely to make money with this idea that I expressed in this podcast. So for everyone out there listening, my name is Justin Lewis. And on the podcast with me is Michael Brown. Yeah, and go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to tell everyone, utilize this technique. This is something you can go off and do. And Justin, it's really great, that you were able to come on and share this today with everyone. But this is a technique that can be used. It's something you can do today. You could really start brainstorming, and you can go talk to someone and get this going. So don't think of this as something that it can only be once. I guarantee you there are so many businesses you can duplicate this in over and over and over again. You could make this a full-time business just doing this.
Absolutely. So, you could find one local business and have a full-time income off of that one local business if you know what you're doing. If you brainstorm and think out of the box, it's very possible to do that. Or if you want, you can expand upon that, like Michael Brown is saying, or Michael is saying. I always say your last name by accident because it just sounds perfect with your name. So when I talk to my girlfriend Jocelyn, I just always say, hey, Michael Brown said this today. I don't say, hey, Michael said this, because Michael Brown just sounds perfect. Yeah,
it's one of those real unique names, yeah. Like no one else has it. So
it's a great name. I love it. So I'm gonna stop hitting on Michael right now. Let's get into the point. The point is that you can take this idea, you can expand upon it, you can do whatever you want with it, and make as much money as you want with it. So thank you everybody that has listened to the podcast today. If you would like you can check out the full notes of the entire podcast at nicheoptimizer.com/OSP, which is Online Success Podcast, and then 3, the number 3. And if you go there, you'll see all of the resources, all of the information that we expressed in here, as well as, little tables and stuff like that, and videos that can help you out, and links. And if you want to access any of the previous or future episodes of the the Online Success Podcast, you can go to nicheoptimizer.com/podcast. And from there, you can see all the previous episodes that we've had. So far, we've only recorded 3 episodes. But if we have any future episodes, if you're watching this after we've actually posted this up on the site, then you can watch all of our future episodes and see all the great information that we have to share there. So it was great having everyone that is listening to the Online Success Podcast. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to us. You can do this on iTunes by clicking the subscribe button. You can go on youtube.com/nicheoptimizer, and from there you can subscribe to us too. If you're watching this on the video, it can also be below that video. And you can also sign up at nicheoptimizer.com/podcast. And from there, you can sign up with your email if you'd like to receive the podcast updates inside of that email. So again, my name is Justin Lewis, and this is Michael Brown.
Yep. Hey, everyone. We will see you guys on the next Online Success Podcast in episode 4.
Yep, and we will see you guys there. This is going to be episode 4. Can't wait to get started on it. I believe in that episode we're going to talk about how you can become, or how you are an expert, right, Michael?
Yeah, that's the next episode.
All right, sweet. So we will see you in episode 4 of the Online Success Podcast.